welcome to our course about talking. Today's course has been written by speech and language therapists in the NHS. My name is Gemma and I'm a speech and language therapist and I work with children. This course is for parents who've been sent this video to get a better idea about how to help their child with their talking, and also so that you know what to expect from speech and language therapy. This video course could also be for anyone who's interested in helping children learn language and know more about speech and language therapy. So let's get started. The aims for today's course are so that you can know more about how children learn language, so that you can learn some top tips from speech and language therapists in helping your child learn to talk, and also so that you know what to expect from speech and language therapy sessions. This is the language pyramid. Speech and language therapists use the language pyramid a lot, and they may show you this when your child comes for speech therapy. The language pyramid shows us what skills children need in order to be able to talk. In the pyramid, you can see that it goes up in steps. Each step is a different skill that children need to learn so that they can talk. Speech and language therapists always look at the skills at the bottom of the pyramid to make sure that they're in place, because they're really, really important. So at the bottom of the pyramid, we have the first skill children will learn, and that's interacting with adults. So this might be when a baby cries, or when a child looks up at you to ask you to get a toy down for them. Being able to interact with an adult is really important. It really helps because if your child can do this, we can teach them language while they're playing and while we're doing our normal everyday routines. Keep the pyramid in mind, we'll be talking about it later on in the video. So next up, we have some top tips and activities that you can try at home. The first thing we want you to do is have a look in the description box below. Read the activity, pause this video and then come back once you've tried it. So, the first tip is it feels much better when we're talking to be face to face with people. Kids will love it when you're face to face with them when they're playing. So when you go to play with your child, get down on the floor with them and try to be face to face so that you can give them eye contact. That's when you look into their eyes. This might mean you're sat on the floor or you might even be lying on the floor. The next tip is follow your child's lead in their play. Watch what your child is doing and play their way. This works so well because children love it when we join in with their play. Wait, look and listen for any communication they might be showing you. At this stage, it might be that they look at you with their eyes, they might give you something, or they might even point to something. You can try adding a word to match their communication. So if your child gives you a brick, you can say, "Oh, brick," and then copy what they're doing with the brick, which might be making it into a tower, knocking things over with it. Have some fun with this one. Children can make up brilliant games, and you can help them learn language while they're doing it. The next tip is taking turns. Turn taking is a really important skill, and you can do it with any game. So you can take turns with bricks, with blowing bubbles, with crashing cars. You can even take turns when you're singing a song. Your child might take a turn by making a noise or a sound or even a word. They might also take a turn by doing something in your game, like knocking something over or blowing bubbles. Turn taking in play is really good because it means that children will be ready to start taking turns in conversation. When we talk, we always take turns. We take turns to talk and then we have a turn to listen. That's how talking works, so that's why this one will be really important for your child. The next top tip is to use simple language. Name any object that your child is looking at, that they're holding, that they're playing with. You can also name what they're doing as well, so you can say running, jumping, climbing, swimming, as well as car, brick, plane, water. Use lots of repetition, so any chance you get to use that word, repeat it lots and lots, because this will help your child to learn the word. Remember to use the same word for each object every time, so decide whether you're going to call it a sofa or a settee, or lunch or dinner or trousers or pants, and try to stick to the same one. It's always best to focus on the actual object or what the child is doing rather than the number of things that are there and the colours as well. This is so important because children learn the new words when we tell them the name. The next tip is turn your questions into comments. We ask children so many questions all of the time, and they are really useful, and sometimes we need to ask questions. But try when you're playing with your child, turning your questions into comments. So instead of saying, "Oh, what's that? What are you doing?" you can say, "Wow, the bus! Driving the bus!" This is a really, really important tip because children will learn the language that you say. If you ask questions, they're not learning any language. There's loads of different questions that we can turn into comments. Have a go next time you're playing with your child. So for some more examples, instead of saying, "Do you want juice?" you could say, "Ooh, juice, yummy." Instead of saying, "Is that a plane? Wow, is that a plane?" you could say, "Ooh, a plane, a big plane." Questions are testing children, but when we use comments, it helps children to learn the words. The next tip is to add on words. So whatever your child says, try to use this stepladder approach. Try to add one extra part onto the things that your child is saying. So for example, if they say car, you could say, "Oh, wow, car driving." Or if they say duck, you could say, "Oh, duck says quack." Adding just a small part on will help children to expand their language, and that means that they'll be learning more things to say. We can add lots of different types of words as well. You can add doing words, so running, jumping, sleeping, playing. If your child is using 2 or 3 words in their phrase, then you can add describing words like big or little, hot or cold. So you could say, "I want hot food. I want cold food. I want the big cup. I want the small cup." Have a look at this picture of the ladder and keep that in mind when your child is talking. See whether you can try to add on one extra bit of language for them to learn. The last tip is to use things that the child can see. We all understand things a lot more when there are pictures and words. That's why in supermarkets all the packets and tins have got words and pictures on. It's why we have road signs with symbols on, and it's why we all love watching the TV so much. We like looking at things. So to help your child learn language, show them the things that you're talking about to give them a clue. This is going to help them understand language, and it's also going to help them to use more language. So for example, if you want them to bring you their cup, then show them the cup or point to the cup and then use the word. This will really help them to learn more words. So to recap all of the things that you can try at home from our top tips. So we had get down on your child's level and be face to face, play your child's way and follow their lead, try to use simple language, use comments instead of questions, add language onto what your child is saying, and finally use things your child can see. So now that we've finished talking about all the tips, it might be worth taking some time out and planning out when you're going to use these tips with your child. You could chat about this with friends and family, write down some ideas. Some parents might find it useful to write down the strategies and put them where you're going to be playing with your child, or even set reminders on your phone to make sure that you get in that practice time. Let's talk now about speech and language therapy sessions and what you can expect. Speech and language therapists are professionals who help people to communicate. Lots of children will need help from speech and language therapists to help them to talk. When you get your appointment for speech and language therapy, make sure that you come and let us know if you can't come. This is really important because there's lots of other children who are also waiting to see us. Speech and language therapists will look at the language pyramid that we saw earlier, and they'll use that to help them to decide what your child needs help with. So for example, if your child needs help with something at the bottom of the pyramid, they'll start there first and then they'll work their way up. In your sessions, your speech and language therapist might ask you to do some work at home. It's really important that you do this so that your child gets the most out of speech and language therapy. Have a look in the description box below for more details and more information. We've come to the end of this course. Thank you very much and good luck practicing. Bye!